we just don't have the spaces to accommodate all the qualified students that want a higher education in Ontario. And we know our economy needs us talent, and we want to provide that talent.
A dire financial picture being painted by Ontario's universities, who say that over the next 6 years, about 100,000 university spots could be in jeopardy because of a lack of funding.
Ontario universities are facing a perfect storm. Operating grants have not kept up with inflation or the cost of providing education for students. Two, the tuition has been cut by 10% and will be frozen for 8 years. And three, the federal cap on international students is reducing revenues this year for Ontario universities by over 300 million, growing to more than 600 million next year.
Orsini says universities are struggling to keep up with the demand for spaces in large part because of a funding cap that also exists on domestic students through what's called corridor funding.
You're allowed to go above a few percent or below and not lose your funding. If you go above the cap, you're no longer getting grants from the province for the students you enroll. That corridor funding has been in place since 2016.
The Council of Ontario Universities is calling on the province to increase the cap as well as provide a boost to operational funding. It comes exactly 1 year after an expert panel set up by the province recommended a funding boost of about $2.5 billion to colleges and universities over 3 years. The provincial government has committed to $1 billion.
While that funding has been, desperately needed and appreciated, it doesn't meet the panel's recommendation and doesn't even keep up with inflation, and it ends in 3 years, creating more uncertainty and financial hardship for the sector 3 years from now.
We reached out to the province. In a statement, a spokesperson for Minister Nolan Quinn pointed to the $1 billion boost, adding, quote, "That is on top of the more than $5 billion in operating funding we put into the sector every year. We'll continue to support the post-secondary sector for their continued success and sustainability to ensure students can get good-paying, in-demand jobs once they graduate." The Council's report shows that Ontario receives the lowest funding per domestic student in the country. Orsini says aside from this most recent boost from the province, universities haven't seen increases for the past 15 years. In downtown Toronto, Natividad, City News.